Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. Today we're back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. Trying to find the best games as always, and we have a really good one here. We have Liquid Snute going up versus aLive in a Terran versus Zerg here. So one of the best foreigners going up against a very well-known Korean Terran who's known to be very solid. So it's going to be a great game here. The map is Frost. So without further ado, spawning down in the bottom right-hand side of the map, it is aLive playing for the Afrika Freaks, Kespa team, one of the Korean pro teams. So very prestigious when it comes to Starcraft. And his opponent, spawning up in the bottom top left-hand side of the map, it is Snute, the Red Zerg, playing for Team Liquid. So we've got ourselves a Terran versus Zerg here on an older map, and just from the way this game's starting out, Snute is going to be a very happy player. Snute, the Zerg player, going to be exceptionally happy with how the two players spawned right now. Zergs right now like to play defensive in this matchup here. They like to get lots of tech, play macro-oriented, whereas Terran tries to do damage. Now, the distance between these two players spawning here is so huge. This is once the players identify this, Snute is going to say, yes, this is amazing, whereas aLive is going to say, oh no, he's just going to roll his eyes in the back of his head and be upset, basically. As a Terran player, it's one of the worst feelings when it comes to playing versus Zergs. So very standard openings here coming out of these players. So Reaper expand for aLive. Snute gone for the hatchery first, knowing that it is a 4-player map. Not going for anything super greedy like 3 hatches before pool. We don't see that anymore. But yeah, very standard opening for Snute here. Getting up the gas, likely just for speed. We'll see whether he pulls out of this gas. But no, it seems he's actually going to keep mining this gas here. So there is the possibility for Snute to throw down some more tech later on, possibly for safety roaches, as Zergs like to play that safe style here. But yeah, it's just going to be a macro game from here on out. We see aLive, his Reaper, bottom left now. Gonna possibly see the Overlord for Snute. No, it doesn't. He sees that there's no natural. He says, alright, there's no Zerg there. There's the possibility that Snute could have been one-basing, but not likely on this map anyway. So Snute's Overlord, I think, did see that Reaper, so he's going to know the spawn positions. Well, quite likely know the spawn positions anyway. Snute's actually moving out with a handful of lings on the map. This is sort of interesting. Generally, Zerg players keep their lings at home to defend from the Reaper, but he saw where aLive's Reaper was. He possibly saw that it was heading back, so he knows exactly where they spawn. And if we look at this, the Reaper is going to start working away on these lings here, the 2 Marines. So these lings are going to go down to the Reaper. Speed is just going to be a second too late here. So these lings will be killed off by Snute, but they saw the 2 Marines. They know where aLive is. So not the worst thing to throw away, as those lings are really just for safety at the start of the game. And now there's queens and a few more lings to stay safe for Snute. Snute actually making 12 lings here. This is a decent amount. I guess just to try and secure this third base, maybe to get some run bys here or catch aLive's Reaper out on the map. We see a 2-1-1 coming out of aLive here. Most common build. Terrans have been doing this build in TvZ right now 9 times out of 10 because it's just so good, and it's just the best way Terrans can play this game right now. This is a bit worrying for aLive, though. These lings are going to get on top of these 3 Marines here. Snute, good move here. No, just seeing that there's not enough to defend this natural, as Marines were in the main base for aLive, I guess, to try and shoo away any Overlord, but Snute's lings are starting to kill SCVs at the natural here. Not getting too much, but any damage at this stage in the game is huge here. Gonna cancel a supply depot here, not actually cancel a kill, so very well done by Snute at this stage in the game. aLive is gonna be kicking himself right now. There's possibly enough Marines to shoo away these lings, but aLive playing it safe. For all he knows, there could be more lings on the way. The Reaper gonna go down here. SCV is being pulled. I don't think any Marines were lost there, but basically the situation right now is that aLive is gonna need to get some damage done. He has his medivacs out, and look at this. Meanwhile, when that attack was going down, Snute did send in an Overlord. He got that Overlord speed upgrade, so now he knows exactly what aLive's going for. He did lose that Overlord, which was unfortunate, as it was sort of just hanging out there for a little bit too long, but Snoot's gonna know this attack is coming. He's making the mass queens with Zergies to defend this sort of style. He's gonna make a handful of lings. He's getting roaches for when the drops become a bit more intense. So Snute is one of the players who sticks basically exclusively to this roach style here. Some Zerg players, they like to just play with the lings and the banelings. Snute is a player who will go for roaches, sort of go for that scary late game, but sort of different in a way. He'll go for roaches, ravagers, infestors, where the emphasis isn't as much on getting the ultralisks out as other players, because Snute knows roaches and ravagers are decent. They're good enough on their own here. And actually, Carapace on the way for Snute here. He wants to benefit any links he makes. He wants to benefit his roaches, his queens. Basically everything benefits from Carapace, as opposed to getting a specific melee upgrade or ranged upgrade. We do see a Widowmine and some Stim Marines here coming in, trying to get some damage done. The Widowmine might connect with a roach here, but ultimately the Marines and Medivacs are shoot away. Snute gonna bait out this Widowmine shot here. A Spore Crawler is on the way to see this Widowmine and kill it off. Meanwhile, one of aLive's Medivacs is very weak now, so he needs to be careful with that. Snute, Overlord, gonna see this drop incoming. Look at this creep spreading already, just to be prepared for this drop. aLive is not gonna get anything done here, and he's gonna need to be very careful not to lose these units here. Sees that there's lings waiting there, drops them, and says, nope, we're getting out of here. So now aLive's just gonna sort of try and poke and prod and get whatever he can done, but he's not in a good situation right now. It's 3 bases versus 2. aLive, he lost his SCVs. Going for this build sort of put him on an economic downside, as Terran generally wants to get a bit of damage done with drops or follow-up drops. He is getting a Liberator to come in, got 2 kills there. I think it was just Larva there, though. Marines dropping, killing some creep here, but right now it's Snoot's got a good economic lead, and aLive's just throwing down all his tech. Snute gonna have an upgrade advantage here. This game is definitely going well for Snute right now. aLive is gonna want to get some damage done, or he's gonna have to go to his own very, very late game here. We see tanks coming out for aLive, as he knows roaches and ravagers are what he's going to be fighting, so he's making these tanks to deal with them. The Medivacs can keep those tanks alive, take very good fights here. Medivac's so weak here, possibly going to get picked off. I think it is. Oh, a bit of indecision there by aLive, not a chance it was going to get out there. Queens for Snute, shutting down this drop supply significantly in Snute's favor. aLive is going to want to float over this 3rd command center right away here. He's going to be starting his 2-2 here, so, well, his 1-1, so he'll sort of have even upgrades with Snute in a minute here. Then hopefully, for aLive's sake, he'll start 2-2 right after that to sort of have a bit of an advantage in this game, as Snute is just going for the 1 upgrade right now. He's going for the Carapace. He's throwing down a 2nd Evo right now, Infestation Pit as well, so Snute's getting that attack. He's possibly going to go for some ranged unit attack upgrades, or he might just go for that melee and then go into ultras here, but ultimately Snute is in a happy position right now. Spreading creep, not too much creep on the front actually. There's not much of a buffer in front of this 3rd base. aLive doing a decent job of sort of denying that. We now see more tanks on the way for aLive. There's just 2 right now, a Liberator. So that is enough to really help in fights if microed correctly, but Snute's just got so much army supply right now. aLive's got a drop in the middle of the map, drop to the top right. Gonna try to get anything he can in here. However, Snute's anticipating this. These units are gonna need to get out of there. Few Marines die, don't even manage to pick off 1 Ravager. These Marines are going to take the Watchtower here. But 4th base on the way for Snute. 2-2 is on the way for aLive, so he will have a bit of an upgrade window here, but Snute's rushing towards this Hive Tech right now. He is going to go for these Ultralisks, more than likely anyway, as he's getting these melee upgrades, completely skipping ranged upgrades for his Roaches. I guess he's just saying Corrosive Biles are good enough here to hold off any attack on cross spawns. Snute's Queen, so much energy, so much creep going down right now. He is soon going to have a wall of creep in between him and his bases. aLive coming in, trying to pick off any tumors he can. But for a Terran player to be cleaning up creep like this, it costs energy. Okay, right now we're sort of seeing how aLive's going to try to deal with this to deal with this Zerg. He knows that Snute's going to be going for this Ultra's tech, and I guess he's decided that he's not going to be able to kill Snute, so he's not going to bother trying. I mean, can you blame him right now? He's down 60 supply. 60 army supply, basically. So aLive going to be getting upgrades here. He's going to be getting ship upgrades, so he'll be able to make Liberators that'll do more damage here. Liberators is seemingly going to be how he's going to try to deal with these Ultras now. Getting tech labs on all his barracks. You're going to be wanting some more Marauders, 3 Marauders at a time right now. Another starport on the way. If we see a fusion core for Liberator range, that'll be important here. Spire on the way for Snute. Now, a Zerg can take bad fights versus Liberators here. Liberators are such a good unit. They can just destroy ground armies. Ravagers aren't necessarily enough to deal with mass Liberators, so that puts the Zerg player in a very uncomfortable position. But Snute, he's going for a Spire right now. He's going to get out Corruptors to deal with this. He's even getting a Baneling Nest, so he is going to sort of go into a Weirdling Bane. Right now we see aLive taking a fight right now, but he's bleeding off the Siege Tank. His bio was out of position. A bad time for aLive to move out. Tanks dropping on the high ground. Going to get fantastic shots here. Medivac's gonna move those tanks back, so this is actually somewhat of a decent fight for aLive right now. Snute decides to push in, but any fight is sort of good for Snute right now. He's doubling the army supply of aLive. aLive's just bled off a few units. Liberators right now gonna try to deal with this here. One of them goes down immediately. Not too many Liberators left for aLive as well. These tanks are critical right now, and as a matter of fact, I think it's just a tank as all the others have gone down. 4th base for aLive is landing. It's mining, but he needs to hold off this attack. 3rd base mining being denied. This bio is on 2-2 right now, so an upgrade advantage in that department. 2 siege tanks shelling away as much as possible. Will aLive be able to hold on? Liberator siege is up, forces out Corrosive Biles. Fungal going down on all that army, though. The one tank isn't quite Corrosive Biles, so that's a bit of a mistake by Snute not picking that off. This tank getting so many kills here, 13 kills, saved by aLive yet again. The bio for aLive is seemingly just going to be able to pull this out, but aLive did take SCV losses. In fact, there's a few SCVs chasing these Roaches and Raptors right now. aLive down on army supply, but not as much as before. Managed to hold on here. He's got Liberators. SCV's transferring. He's trying to stay alive in this game, but here's the Ultra's transition for Snute. Gonna try to just snuff out aLive here if he chooses to. Snute's now just a rock that aLive has to deal with in some way. That one siege tank, though, the real MVP. 14 kills. Definitely the reason why aLive managed to survive there. Now we see Snute's actually moving out again. Snute could be getting a bit too far ahead of himself right now. Can't engage into these Liberators. He's doubling the army supply of aLive yet again, but he is going to have to wait for Corruptors to deal with these Liberators. He's going to have to get maybe more Ravagers if he wants to push in. But this is where aLive has a chance to sort of turn the game around. If he can manage to maybe go for drops and force Snute to take a bad fight. We see some Lings going around here, but this supply depot wall is going to delay them here. So aLive is going to have to get into position here. A Liberator sieging up at his mineral line to deal with this. I don't know, this handful of Lings might be able to get something done here. We see Snute pushing across the map. Random fungal goes off there. That was not sure what that was about. But aLive sort of just bunkered in here. Well, not bunkered, metaphorically bunkered in. He's sort of just trying to hold off, playing defensive here. So many Liberators sieging up. There is no Liberator range on the way right now, as he did go for that extra reactor. He wants quantity of Liberators right now over the Liberator range here. We see a drop for aLive moving and picking off a Spore Crawler, but gonna be shoot away. He's gonna see all these Ultras and he's gonna say, oh no. Now we see though aLive deciding to tech. He's realized, okay, yes, it's gonna be a super late game right now. He's getting up he's getting up Ghosts, he's getting up Liberators. This one drop does get into the main base. Might be able to pick off a Queen or two here. Not the worst trade in the world, but I think that Queen's probably going to be transfused. No, Snute doesn't transfuse it, so it gets a Queen, but loses a few too many units there for that to be worth it. Look at this, aLive. This is such a unique way for Terrans to try and deal with this style. He's building up missile turrets to try and kill off these Corruptors here. Snute's actually going to lose a few Corruptors here to this Stim bio. He's building up missile turrets to shoo away corruptors so his liberators can stay strong, so he can hold off the defense. Usually Terrans want to be trying to push out and drop everywhere, but for now aLive is focused on survival. He's building up quite a good ghost count too. 4 already, another 4 on the way. That's enough to start picking off Ultralisk here and there, particularly Ultralisk off creep. Sensor tower going up for aLive. He's preparing for this late game. He's on 4 bases. A Terran player can survive on 4 bases for a decent amount of time here. However, Snute's going to be going for a counterattack. These 4 Marines are going to be in for a surprise here. Double-pronged attack coming for Snute, moving into the planetary right now. SCV's pulled for aLive at the 4th, but SCVs are also going to have to be pulled at the 3rd here as Snute comes in the sensor tower. Only now just going to reveal that these Ultras are here, and the fact that SCVs are dying is going to reveal it. Liberators coming to try and deal with these Ultras, but Snute's so smart, moves in with a handful of Corruptors to prevent just a few Liberators just from dealing with this. The Ghosts are here right now, gonna try to get snipes off, but they're not microed correctly right now. Liberators sieging up, but these Ghosts are forced to run from the Ultras, running through Liberation Zones to try and deal with this. Any Ghost that goes down is such a massive loss as they're so expensive. The 4th base did stay alive for aLive. That's a bit of a pun there. And Snute, he tried to go for a fancy attack. He killed off a good amount of SCVs. Did he actually? The base did just narrowly survive. He didn't take the most efficient fight, but he killed off, oh, that must have been 30 to 40 workers there. A Ghost wandering out. No cloak for the Ghosts of aLive right now, so aLive needs to be careful in that department. aLive's actually being so risky right now, moving out with these Ghosts, sniping a Queen. 5th base for Snute is on the way. Now, both players are on 4 bases, so if we take a look at the incomes right now, there's a pretty big discrepancy for aLive, but that's only because he's down on SCVs. Snute really is only up 1 base, so it's not the end of the world. Liberators moving and sieging up, so many snipes going down, just gonna fry 2 Ultralisk right there. And aLive's actually gonna move in and start killing off this 5th base for Snute. He needs to, 2 Ultralisk pop right there though. Gonna move those straight into these Liberation Zones. A blanket of snipes goes down on top of these Ultras, but Snute's even got Vipers now pulling in Liberators, but this is still a decent fight for aLive right now. Not too many Ultralisk are left for Snute right now. In fact, not a single Ultra. They were all sniped down, and the Ghosts have more utility than just dealing with Ultras. They can kill off Ravagers, Queens, Corruptors, Infestors, really anything. And now if we look at it, it's 4 bases versus 4 bases, and aLive can always float over a base, so aLive is not in a terrible situation right now. He does need to keep these Ghosts alive, but Snute's only up on army supply right now, and it's not even the best army supply. There's still Ravagers, there's Vipers, yes, to deal with Liberators, there's Corruptors, there's now Broodlords on the way. This is the most important, but 4 Broodlords can be dealt with by Ghosts with good snipes. They can be gotten on top of. There is now 4 Ultras though, so this is where Snute's army is going to get scary. But once again, if we look at the mining, players are generally even on mining. aLive's actually done a beautiful job this game taking efficient fights versus such a late game composition here. 3 more Broodlords on the way here for Snute, so this is where it's going to get very scary for aLive. He doesn't have air control, so he's either going to have to go for a mass drop or take a beautiful engagement here somehow. This could just be sort of the end of aLive as Snute's creep spread is now getting across the map. It's almost touching aLive's base here. He can't really deal with this. He needs to. He'd like to, but he can't really deal with this creep spread as the Zerg's just parked out here right now. aLive's now identified the Broodlords possibly going to move out and get a snipe, but he never did get cloaking technology. So those Ghosts, they are vulnerable if they decide to move out. If they have cloak, they can sort of poke in, poke out, pick off a unit here and there. Snute's even moving up Spore Crawlers because of this. Right now we see Vikings' desperate attempt for aLive right now to try and stay even in this game. His Vikings actually have +1 ship weapons, so they're better in upgrades than the air army of Snute. But right now if we look at Snute, there is 8 Corruptors, Ravagers, Fungal, Vipers, so it's going to be very tough for aLive to take an air fight, particularly how all his units are supported by Queens. Gonna stim in, is aLive possibly going to pick off a Spore Crawler, but I think he's just honestly baited Snute into attacking him, and I'm not sure if that was the best move. His time sort of is on aLive's side. He's building up Vikings here, he's got the upgrade, he's got 3 Vikings on the way at a time right now. In a minute he might be able to start picking off Broodlords here, or at least take a fight. If he eliminates Snoot's air control, then he can hang on a little longer in this game. 5th base established for aLive here. He floated over his main base. So that's gonna put him actually sort of ahead on economy right now. He's got a massive drop at the 3rd base of Snute, forcing Snute to keep back so many ultras here. aLive is sieging, or Snoot's sieging the 4th base of aLive, but honestly, that's not the end of the world for him. He's got a 5th base. He's just going to want to drop all the mules he can here right now. He's dropping at this base for Snute. Snoot's actually on such a low economy right now. The income is abysmal for Snute. aLive gonna pick off this 5th base. Snute can't afford this to happen. Snoot's really just got this army that he has. 2 Broodlords gonna seemingly go down here. Very well done by aLive, managing to pick them off. Now, it's not necessarily, as long as there's 1 Broodlord for Snute, aLive is in a tough situation, so he does want to win the air fight. Now, Snoot's actually morphing 3 more Broodlords right now. Ghost moving in for aLive, needs to be so careful not to get fungled or picked off here. Losing a Ghost is such an expensive loss. Now, it sort of works that the more Broodlord Snute morphs, the less air control he has, so this could actually be a mistake. There's only 2 Corruptors for Snute right now. Yet, EMP's going down on all the Infestors there for aLive, but he is going to lose all the Ghosts as a result, but it seems that this is going to bait aLive to go in for an attack, but there's so many Vipers here. Parasitic Bombs going down. aLive needs to split off that infected Viking here. Vikings all taking that splash damage, but they're all still alive. Now it's really just the Spore Crawlers that are pushing this army back. The Queens will be able to as well. But aLive's in a decent position. He's now equal on army supply. Snute moving these spores forward, and that is a mistake, as every bit of AA matters for Snute right now. Snipe's going down, gonna weaken an ultra desperately, but Snute can transfuse to keep that alive there. That spore actually making work happen right there. aLive needs to be careful. But if we look at this, Snute only just reestablishing a 5th base. aLive really needs to drop more mules at this space of his. But right now, aLive's barely mining off his bases, but it's more than Snute right now. Wait, Snute's at almost no income right now. aLive, the longer this goes on, it will be a decent situation for him as Snute. If he just sent a handful of lings towards this 5th base, he'd be able to kill this off, shut down aLive's economy. The fact that Snute hasn't done this though is putting him in a very tough situation. Just a handful of lings in this game would be in Snute's favor. But Snute's sort of tunnel visioning, I guess. aLive trying to focus down Viper here and there, but ultimately the transfuses are very good for Snute. The Queen's very effective when it's down to a situation where all these units matter right now. Viper does go down. Corruptors might get picked off here. Ghost moving in, EMPing all the Infestors and Queens actually. There's very little transfuse, very little air, but there is 1 fungal for Snute here. He manages to pick off all the Vikings with Corrosive Bile while they were locked down. aLive gonna try to kite back with his bio here, there's only a handful of ultras left, but the bio is all so weak, and it's mainly Marines here, so it's gonna have a very tough time dealing with these ultras here. The ultras for Snute pushing in. aLive down on armies by going for sort of a panic drop here. But there's still Broodlords left for Snute. He's killed off the planetary at the 4th base of aLive. The main base of aLive is compromised here. He's now down on army supply. Yes, he has better mining right now, but that doesn't matter if he's just going to straight up die. 1 Viking. There's actually no Corruptors here, but there is Queens that are protecting these Broodlords. So it's a very tough situation right now for aLive. If he wants to come back into this game here, he's going to have to possibly go for a base trade here, and that's what he's thinking. He's killing off the one mining base for Snute yet again. But GG is called. aLive knows that Snute would eventually just win out in that situation. Very well played by aLive there, honestly. He almost managed to hold on, but not quite. Snute played very, very solid there. Tunnel visioning, not harassing that 5th base of aLive was a bit of a mistake, but Snute's army control, his unit composition, by controlling that and making the proper composition, he managed to win there. So very well done by Snute. Congratulations to him on the win. So thank you guys for watching. If you've enjoyed this game here, feel free to let me know. If you've enjoyed the cast, feel free to let me know. If you have any feedback, feel free to let me know. I guess that's how it goes. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.